Do now on some stuff we've done before, on some ratio. So get stuck in. And yeah, well, you've got 5 minutes and your time starts now. Okay, so here we go. Right, write each of these ratios in their simplest terms. That means that we need to divide them a bit like a fraction where you divide the top and the bottom by the same thing. In this case, we divide left and right by the same amount. And in this case, the number's going to be 5. 5 will divide both of these. Let's do that. There are 3 5s and 15 and 4 5s and 20. And there's nothing else that divides both of those that would make it any smaller. So it's in its simplest terms. 24 and 30, I could divide both of those by 6. Could divide them by 2, but 6 would be better because it makes it even smaller straight away. So 4 to 5. Now if you did it in 2 jumps, it's not going to matter. That's absolutely fine as long as you do eventually get to the simplest terms. Okay, so this one, 8, 12 and 32 are all in the 4 times table. So I'm going to divide all of them by 4. There are 2 4s in 8. There are 3 4s in 12. And there are 8 4s in 32. So 2 to 3 to 8. Now this time, this is an interesting one. It's saying it wants us to write it in the format of 1 to something. So I have to figure out what to divide it by to get it to 1 to something. Well, actually, if we want the left-hand side to be 1, let's just divide it by itself, because 4 divided by 4 is 1. And then do the same to the other side. 2 divided by 4 is actually a half. I'm going to write it as 0.5. Usually we put decimals in these, but I guess a fraction in a ratio is probably okay. Maybe? I'm not sure. I'm starting to confuse myself. I don't think I've seen one. Let's write it as a decimal. Okay, next one. 12 to 3, and I want it in the format of 1 to something. So the best way of doing that is divide it by itself. 12 divided by 12 is 1. But what we do to one side, we must do to the other. So I'm going to divide this by 12 as 1. 3 divided by 12 is actually a quarter, so that's 0.25. That should say, let's rewrite that. It's a bit squidged up. 0.25. So 1 to 0.25. And this time, again, we want it in the format of 1 to something. So I'll divide by itself, divide by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. And then do that to the other side of the ratio as well. 1 divided by 5, if you do that, you'll find that it's a fifth, which is 0.2. So 1 to 0.2. Right, share this amount in a ratio of 2 to 5. Add, divide, multiply. Add up your ratio, because I need to know how many parts there are in my ratio. There's 2 on this side, 5 on the other. That's a total of 7 parts. Now each of those parts will be equal, because that's how ratio works. It's all like equal shares. So we take our 56 and we divide it into those 7 equal parts to find out how much is in each part. Well, how many 7s in 56? There are 8 7s in 56. So that is what each part is worth. And then we want to go back to our ratio. 2 and 5. And I need 2 lots of £8. And I need 5 lots of £8, which would be 16. And 5 lots of 8 is 40. And a quick check, if you added those two together, you would get 56, which is what we started with. So that's great. Now, some questions do like you to write your answer in a ratio again. So sometimes it's a good idea to do that. So 16 to 40. And make sure it's gone the same way round as your original. 2 to 5, 16 to 40. So again, add, divide, multiply. Add up your ratio to find out how many parts. 6 and 5 is 11. So there are 11 parts in all. And then get your money, or whatever it is, and divide it into that number of parts. Find out how much each one is worth. Well, there are, it's money, isn't it? Yep, so there are £12 in each part, because 11 times 12 is 132. And go back to your ratio, the 6 and 5. And I need 6 lots of £12. I certainly do. I also need 5 lots of £12, so if you could just leave that on my desk at the end of the lesson, that'd be great. So 6 lots of £12 is 60. No, it's not. 6 12s are 72. I was thinking ahead there, because 5 12s, they are 60. 6 0, that's what they're supposed to be. And again, I'm just going to write it in the in a ratio, because sometimes the questions like you to do that. So 72 to 60, which is still in the proper ratio of 6 to 5. 72 to 60. I'm off to go and sort out my pen and find out why it's not working properly. On to your main task then. Bye-bye.